Good day, everyone. Welcome to this lesson on direct instruction, one of the most foundational teaching strategies you will encounter in the LET Professional Education exam. Now, you might be thinking, isn't direct instruction just regular teaching? Well, it is one of the most traditional approaches, but there is so much more to it than just a teacher standing in front and talking. In this lesson, we'll look at what makes direct instruction unique, the specific steps involved in the process, an example in a real classroom, the benefits of using it, and when it is most appropriate to use. We will also go through the LET keywords you need to watch out for when answering exam questions about this strategy. Let's get started. Let's begin with the definition of direct instruction. Direct instruction is a teacher-centered approach, and that word teacher-centered is very important. It means the teacher is in control of the learning. The teacher decides what is taught, how it is taught, and at what pace. This is different from student-centered strategies like cooperative learning or inquiry-based learning, where students take more control of their own learning process. In direct instruction, the teacher presents information explicitly. That means clearly, step by step, leaving nothing to guesswork. The teacher models the skill or concept, shows examples, and guides students through practice. The goal is mastery. Students are not just exposed to the content, they are guided until they can actually do it correctly and confidently on their own. Think of it this way. If you are learning how to drive a car, you don't just read about it or discover how the gears work by yourself. You need someone to explain it clearly, show you, and guide you as you practice. That is direct instruction. Now let's look at the 3 key features of direct instruction. These are very important for the LET. The first feature is explicit teaching. This means the teacher does not let students figure things out on their own, at least not at first. The teacher explains step by step, clearly and directly. There is no ambiguity. If you are teaching how to multiply fractions, you don't ask students to discover the method. You show them the method clearly, one step at a time. The second feature is guided practice. After explaining and modeling, the teacher doesn't just hand out a worksheet and walk away. The teacher circulates, checks for understanding, asks questions, and provides immediate feedback. If a student is doing something wrong, the teacher corrects it right away, before the wrong habit sets in. The third feature is mastery learning. Direct instruction believes that all students can learn, but they need enough time and practice to reach mastery. The teacher uses repetition, reviews, and varied practice activities to make sure students don't just understand the concept once. They can do it accurately and confidently every time. These 3 features, explicit teaching, guided practice, and mastery learning, are your LET keywords for direct instruction. Now let's walk through the 4-step process of direct instruction. These steps are sequential. You follow them in order. Step 1. Explain. The teacher introduces the concept clearly. Before anything else, the teacher tells students what they are going to learn and why it matters. There is a clear learning objective. For example, today we are going to learn how to add fractions with different denominators. Step 2. Model. The teacher demonstrates the skill or procedure step by step. This is often called I do, you watch. The teacher thinks aloud while performing the task, explaining each decision and action. Students observe and listen. This is the most important part of direct instruction, because if the model is unclear, everything that follows will suffer. Step 3. Guided practice. Now students try it themselves, but not alone yet. The teacher is still actively involved, circulating the room, asking questions, checking answers, and giving immediate feedback. This is, we do it together. If a student makes a mistake, the teacher corrects it gently but promptly. Step 4. Independent practice. Once students have demonstrated understanding with teacher support, they now do it on their own. This is you do it. The teacher observes to check that students are applying the skill correctly. Independent practice reinforces learning and builds confidence. Remember this sequence: explained model to guided practice to independent practice. You may also hear it called the I do, we do, you do model, which is a very common term in education. Let's bring this to life with a classroom example. Imagine a grade 5 mathematics class. The teacher's objective is to teach students how to add fractions with different denominators, something many students find difficult. Step 1, explain. The teacher begins by clearly stating the goal. Today, we are going to learn how to add fractions with unlike denominators. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to solve these problems on your own. Step 2, model. The teacher writes a problem on the board, say 1/2 plus 1/3. The teacher then thinks aloud. First, I need to find the lowest common denominator. The denominators are 2 and 3, so the LCD is 6. I convert 1/2 to 3/6 and 1/3 to 2/6. Now I add the numerators. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So my answer is 5/6. Every step is explained out loud. Step 3, guided practice. The teacher puts a new problem on the board and says, now let's try one together. Students attempt it, and the teacher walks around, looks at their work, and gives immediate feedback. If a student forgets to find the LCD, the teacher reminds them right away. Step 4, independent practice. Finally, the teacher gives students a short worksheet. Students work on their own. The teacher monitors quietly. The completed worksheet is collected as an informal assessment. That is direct instruction in action. Clear, structured, and effective. Now let's talk about the benefits of direct instruction and when it is most appropriate to use. The first benefit is that it is clear and efficient. Because the teacher controls the pace and content, the lesson is focused and avoids unnecessary detours. Students know exactly what they are expected to learn. This reduces confusion and makes learning more efficient, especially for large classes. The second benefit is that it builds strong foundations. Direct instruction is especially powerful when students are learning something for the very first time. Before students can explore, create, or collaborate, they need the foundational knowledge and skills. Direct instruction gives them exactly that. The third benefit is that it reduces confusion. For complex or technical content, direct instruction ensures nothing is left to chance. The teacher explains and models so thoroughly that even the most confused student has a clear path to understanding. Now, when should you use it? Use direct instruction when you are introducing a brand new concept, when you are teaching a procedure that requires accuracy, like a science experiment or a math formula, when your students are beginners who need clear guidance before they can work independently, and when you are reviewing for an exam and want to make sure all students have the essential knowledge. Direct instruction is not always the best strategy, but for these situations, it is often the most effective choice. Let's now prepare for the LET exam. Here are the keywords and scenarios you need to watch for in questions about direct instruction. Keyword 1. Teacher-centered instruction. If a LET question describes a lesson where the teacher is doing most of the talking, explaining, and demonstrating, think direct instruction. The teacher is front and center. Keyword 2. Explicit teaching and modeling. If the question says the teacher demonstrates step by step or models the procedure, that is direct instruction. Keyword 3. Guided practice. After modeling, the teacher works with students on practice problems, giving feedback along the way. If a question describes a teacher checking students' work and correcting errors during practice, that is the guided practice phase of direct instruction. Keyword 4. Independent practice. Students applying skills on their own after guided practice. That is the final phase of direct instruction. Keyword 5. Foundational knowledge and skills. Direct instruction is the go-to strategy when the learning goal is to teach foundational or procedural knowledge, things that require accuracy and precision. LET tip. If you see a scenario where the teacher explains, then demonstrates, then supervises practice, then releases students to work independently, that is the classic 4-step process of direct instruction. You will recognize it immediately if you remember the sequence: explain, model, guided practice, independent practice. You can also remember it as I do, we do, you do. And that brings us to our key takeaway. Direct instruction is most effective when learners need clear explanations, structured guidance, and repeated opportunities to practice until mastery is achieved. Remember, direct instruction is not about being a boring teacher who just lectures. At its best, it is a highly purposeful and structured approach that ensures every student gets a fair chance to learn. The teacher explains clearly, models thoroughly, guides carefully, and then releases students when they are ready. For your LET exam, remember the 4 steps: explain, model, guided practice, independent practice, or simply I do, we do, you do, and remember the key terms: teacher-centered, explicit teaching, modeling, guided practice, independent practice, mastery learning, and foundational knowledge. You are doing great. Keep going, keep reviewing, and I will see you in the next lesson. Pedagogy. You've got this.